For this video, I combined the last two lessons into one, so we're just going to be covering what to do against all the common lines starting with c6, and common lines starting with g6. Most of these positions will be similar to what we've already went over, but there's still some new positions and common winning ideas that it is important to know. So starting off with this line where black plays c6 and then d5. Some people will bring out their bishop immediately to g4, but we're just continuing with what we've already been over, and this will almost always transpose back into a position that we've already been over. Typically black will just play normally, but a pretty common move to see is this bishop f5 move, stopping us from pushing e4. This is fine though. When we want to play e4, we can just move our queen to e1 and then push for the center. And surprisingly, the most common move here is for black to castle, which just loses material to this simple tactic. And now we're already winning in the first 10 moves of the game. But if your opponent has an IQ above negative numbers, they won't castle and they'll just develop. Now since we played queen e1, we can just push e4. Most common for black to take, and from here we should already know what to do. And right now, after every single one of black's moves, I actually want you to pause the video and try and guess what the right move for us is. I've explained what to do so many times that you should be getting all of these moves right. So after black plays queen c7, what do? Correct, we play f4. Black plays e5 and we're going to play f5. If black puts us in check, we just move, and then what do we play here? g4, planning on kicking that knight from this f6 square. And from here, we have a pretty straightforward plan of attack on black's king side, and from here, you should be winning around 99.9% of all of your games. The other 0.1% is if your Wi-Fi goes out and you disconnect. And for the last lesson for the white pieces of this course, we're going to be covering everything you need to know when you face this g6 move. And surprisingly, there's actually not that much that you need to know. It's pretty similar to this knight f6 line we already went over, but there are some slight variations that are important to know. So starting things off, we're going to be playing our normal system, and occasionally you may see the c5 move. Now you can pretty much just play our normal system, but if you see this knight e7 move, just know that there is a big possibility that your opponent may try and push their f-pawn. We can just continue normally, however, and if black does play f5, this will disrupt our attack that we're used to getting, but just know that we still have a lot of ideas here, and since that pawn isn't on f7 anymore, it does create a slight weakness on this g6 square, which you can aim to exploit later on. But if that's a little bit confusing and didn't make any sense, just do what we do in all of our attacks. Push your pawns on the king side, bring in your major pieces to create more pressure, and ultimately you should see these positions a lot more than your opponents, so you will have a slight edge in these situations. But back to our main line, there's also this early knight e7 move that you might see, and this just makes it a lot easier for black to play either f6 or f5 later on. We can basically just do our normal system though, and this position is something you'll probably see a lot of the times. If black plays f5 here, we can just push our e-pawn and then push our h-pawn up the board to open up that king side. And once we're bringing our knight, black is not surviving this attack. Our bishop is being an inspiration to us all, this pawn is hanging, this pawn is also kind of free, and our knight is making his family proud over there. But going back a few moves, if black doesn't push his f-pawn here, but goes queen c7, we're just going to take this opportunity to push our f-pawn, threatening to play f6. And here, black has a few moves that they can try. Again, I'll leave the link of this study below so that you guys can go over this on your own to study all the other sidelines. But most common here is just this f6 move, in which case we're just going to bring in our queen, and if they take our pawn, they're going to be violently violated. And if they don't take, but do something like knight e5 instead, we can just move back and continue with our normal kingside attack. But back to the main line of this lesson, if black plays more normal moves, we're going to be doing our same old system. Pushing that f-pawn, developing, opening up the king side, and ultimately making our opponent wish they had never started playing chess. And from this position, you should be pretty good to go. You got your queen coming in, your pawns coming in, and we should be pretty happy here. But that should be all you need to know for the white pieces. Again, this is best at playing blitz and bullet games, and it works literally from 100 elo all the way to the most elite level games. So if your goal is to get to 2000 with this system and some practice, it should be light work. Also, this can work in rapid games, so don't be afraid to try it in longer matches. It's just the most effective and quicker time controls, because since this system puts so much pressure on your opponents, it makes them think a lot more and burn more time, giving you even more of an advantage. But that's all I got to say about this. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, or games that you struggled with, or you want to analyze, message me and I'll go over them personally with two chess pros and give you the best advice on what to improve on and just how to win more.